Welcome back. Your house could be big, it could be small, but undoubtedly when it's as cold as it is out right now, you probably hope it's just warm. With the economics and the personal finances that we talk about all the time, figuring out how to save money is certainly a big aspect of that. And your energy bill with your house, as my wife Paige and I found out, or continue to find out with the house we bought, is a big expense. Theresa Nea joins us, the Northwest Area Channel Sales Manager with Mitsubishi Electric Cooling, who actually dominates the world in much of their market. And so first, welcome, Theresa. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And, last hour we were talking about the newer concept of people who go and what we talked about, tightening the house. They go through, they do all these green adjustments, and can actually make the house a little bit more unsafe because you end up with stale air. And we talked about that for people who hadn't listened, and they can catch that on our website later. But in what your company does, there are some systems to keep houses warmer for maybe less money and actually cooler in the summer for less money.
Absolutely.
Talk about some of that.
Absolutely. The ductless heat pump market is growing, and Mitsubishi is a part of the world market and has been for years. And we are now gaining market share in the United States as well. In fact, we grew 40% last year, which in a down market is pretty incredible. But what a ductless heat pump is and does is basically it heats without ductwork. So it's a heat pump. We can talk about the inverter compressor and how it works and how it saves energy. But the savings on a ductless heat pump, if you have an electrically heated home, it can save as much as 50%. And we know that 52% of the energy usage in a home is in your heating and cooling. So that's a big place to save some money.
And absolutely. I mean, if you say 50%, and in order to do that, how does that work? Is this newer technology?
Mitsubishi's been around for 30 years. It's not new technology.
Is this the same as the cars and the TVs?
It's the same company,
okay.
Yes. We even make elevators.
All right.
But heating and cooling is a large portion of our business. And if you've been to Hawaii, you've probably seen a Mitsubishi product on the wall that does the cooling. So a heat pump will heat and cool.
I'm debating if I was inside looking at the machines that were on the wall versus the ocean. Yeah. You may have noticed it. I did not.
Correct. The other benefit in larger homes, we were just talking about larger homes, you can truly do a full house, home-zoned system with ductless heat pump products. Only in America do you walk into a house and turn a switch on and heat every room in that house, say it's a 4,000 square foot house, when you're only using part of it. With the ductless products, you can zone the home so you're only heating and cooling the rooms that you're using.
And so the rooms that you don't use at all, you're not wasting the energy.
That's correct.
It's only in America?
Only in America.
God, we are wasteful, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
That is it's unbelievable to think, and especially because our homes are actually bigger. Typically.
Our homes are bigger, and the Northwest homes, think about it for just a minute, where the furnace is usually, there's a furnace or a heat pump that manages through the ductwork the whole house. Bedrooms are upstairs, and you try to keep it cool or hot in the main floor. You want it cooler in the bedrooms. We keep cranking the heat up, and it gets hot in the bedrooms because we know the law of physics is that heat rises.
Right.
So when you can manage the room by room basis, you don't have that issue. You can keep the upstairs cooler, the downstairs warmer, the sunroom at the right temperature. If you're a stay-at-home person that works out of a home office like I do when I'm home, I'm usually on the road, I can just heat the room I'm using and not heat the whole house in order to keep my 12 by 12 room warm.
Well, it seems so common sense.
It does seem common sense.
Right? Use the power, use the energy to heat the rooms you're using, and don't heat the ones you're not. And I know in some of the bigger houses, people close doors and maybe shut off a vent, but that can't be as effective.
It isn't as effective, and it kind of messes with the airflow in your duct system, in your ductwork, so you don't get even heat. And most houses have hot and cold spots. There's no way around it. When we have ductwork, you've got a rambler, and down at the end of the hall, that room is always cold. No matter what you do, you can't fix that. A ductless heat pump product can fix those kinds of issues, the hot and cold spots. We also know that ductwork leaks. So it's highly energy inefficient. We also know that it carries a lot of dust and toxins and allergens and sometimes
dust mites. I see the pictures in those little mailers of the creepy little critters that are sitting in your ducts.
Oh, yeah. Anyone that cleans ductwork, there's dead rats in there. All sorts of things live in your ductwork and mess with your indoor air quality. Whereas a ductless heat pump, there is no ductwork. It's a constant airflow. So the air is constantly changing, and it's better for your indoor air quality, along with the filtration that we provide.
So where does it come? Is there a different one of these in each room?
There can be. You can do so with a multi-zone room, multi-zone system. But the one thing that we're teaching the industry is you don't have to have a supply duct in every room in order for it to be warm. For example, some of these electrically heated homes, a 1,200 square foot Rambler that has baseboard heat, you can put one unit in the living area, and there will only be a 2-degree difference at the end of the hall in the bedrooms.
And that's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
I know certainly in our house there's hot spots, there's cold spots, and then there's, I don't know, probably spots that don't heat or cool. They just sit there the same all the time.
The fan runs constantly on our units, which really helps with airflow. We use an inverter compressor, which is kind of like cruise control. So when the unit comes on, it has a soft start, and it ramps up to temperature quickly, and then it keeps that temperature. Like when you're cruising in a car, it goes uphill, it gives a little bit more energy. When you're going downhill, it breaks a little bit. So it keeps your room at a constant temperature with that constant fan. It's not cycling on and off like most ducted or heat pump systems work.
And so, okay, so you can save a lot of money. It's eco-friendly. Is it expensive to put one of these in? I mean, let's say we have a heater, a regular furnace heater, and we have a house with lots of rooms that probably don't need to be heated or cooled at half the time.
You know, that's always it just depends on what you want to do. You know, the standard...
I love when people come in and say, it just depends.
It just
depends. Give me a cost. Give me a cost, Theresa. We want to know how much it costs.
It depends on what you're going to do, an 8-zone system or a single-head system. Mm-hmm. And that depends on the installation. And we rely on our contractors to install the product. It's not something you can buy and put in yourself. You have to have a refrigeration license.
$30,000 to do a 3,000 square foot home?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. If you're putting in a single head compared to putting in a single heat pump system, an outdoor unit, our traditional air handler heat pump system, it's probably less. But if you're doing a multi-zone system, it's probably more. And I don't work with homeowners and put that pricing out there.
Sure,
I'm not trying to avoid it. I'm trying to give you some reference.
Okay. I mean, it actually ties a lot into the professionalism that we hold people to on this show, which is you can't tell somebody what it's going to cost for insurance. You can't tell somebody what it's going to cost to do certain things until you really understand what it is they need. And it is less professional to go about and tell them that. So I guess you're more professional for not taking my bait.
The other thing to look at is always to look for incentives, because the local utility companies will incentivize homeowners for changing to ductless heat pump products. In fact, with PSE, there's a $1,500 rebate if you have electrically heated home and you put in a ductless heat pump. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it not only can save you money in the long run, but there's some good incentives, it sounds like, to do it
absolutely
on the front end. Well, Theresa, thanks so much for joining us. Again, that's Theresa Nea with Mitsubishi Electric Cooling and Heating. And, saving money, it is something people want to do. And a heat pump and just being able to, if you can put it in and you can do it, it's that long-term savings you're going to see. And, Kyle, when you come back on a little bit, it'd be interesting to hear if you're seeing more of those in some of these luxury homes, because I don't even know if it's where people have them or where they don't. I guess that's the point, right? When we come back, Charles Tobin with AAA Insurance is going to join us, talk about some things that you may need even though you think you're fully insured. My name is Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.